Good evening, folks. It's Weather United, and in today's evening's update, we are really keeping an eye on that winter storm that's going to be developing in the Pacific Northwest tomorrow. It's going to really cause a lot of problems in the northern Rockies, into the northern plains, bringing the threat also for damaging winds and the threat for severe weather. Now, if you are new to Weather United and you like the detailed weather updates, please consider subscribing, hitting that like button, and sharing this video with your family and friends so we can get this out to a lot of people that really need to be aware of this winter storm. Also, one quick thing that I do want to mention before we really dive deep into this is all above my head is the model run type, the perimeter that I'm using, when the model run was initialized, what day of the week, what month, and what year, of course, and of course, what time of the day that I'm covering this. So taking a look at the European model for early Friday morning into the early afternoon hours, and we can see where that winter storm actually is here over the Pacific Northwest. So the Cascade Range could get a little bit of snow, some rain, some gusty winds as that develops, because of the dynamics that are coming in hand. Now going forward all the way into, say, Saturday morning, the system is already across much of Montana, the Idaho region, into Washington, Oregon, northern Nevada. We're talking about moderate to heavy rainfall, moderate to heavy snowfall, maybe some whiteout conditions. So if you are going traveling this weekend, really think twice about where you're at, because we're going to be seeing some really dicey weather conditions, even in British Columbia, even Alberta, Canada. We're talking about some scattered snow showers because of this system that is really trying to get better organized. Going forward into, say, let's go into Sunday morning. We can see that the system moves into the northern Rockies, into the central Rockies, bringing, again, the snow, strong winds, and yes, the dynamics could be there for severe weather. So then that develops by, say, late Sunday into early Monday. You can definitely take a look at where all the snow is going to be falling on the backside of the system. And take note, those isobars that you see on the map, these are basically lines of equal pressure, and when those isobars are pretty tight, that's when we get some very strong winds out there. And so we're talking about some whipping up winds that will whip up the snow, create whiteout conditions, maybe some drifting, blowing snow there in eastern Montana, in much of Wyoming. So if you live here and you're watching this video, wow, this could be pretty significant for mid to late October. 984 millibars on the European model. That's what it simulates of what might end up happening. And then, of course, we got to keep an eye on up here in portions of Iowa, down across northwestern Missouri, northeastern Kansas. That's where we could have the threat for severe weather, and that also extends into Minnesota. The threat for damaging winds will probably be the greatest, since we have some very strong winds aloft, some directional and speech here that will likely lead to a few organized, intense bowing structures that will likely lead to enhanced wind damage potential, winds that could gust perhaps 65 to 75 miles an hour. And yes, we could get a marginal or a moderate or more of an enhanced risk. That's what I was looking for, an enhanced risk for severe weather. More on that towards the end of the video, so make sure you're staying tuned into that, because we're going to be talking about who will likely get that slight risk or enhanced risk for severe weather. So that's a look at the timing of this winter storm. It gets into Canada by about day 4.5, day 5. Snowfall totals, this is what the model is indicating, and this has been pretty consistent over the last few days. And so much of the Montana, the northern Rockies, the central Rockies could get anywhere between about 1 to 2 feet of snow. Again, the highest elevations, the lower elevations like the valleys, one, it's going to be a little too warm, and two, you're going to get some snow shadowing effect. So very little to no snow in some of the valleys. So therefore, you could expect to see probably 2 to 5 inches of snowfall, while again, these other areas like the higher elevations could see about 1 to 2 plus feet of snowfall. That's typically what happens when you get these winter storms that go across the Intermountain West. You have very hit and miss snowfall amounts due to the mountains, due to the topography, and other factors that get involved. But nevertheless, yes, there is going to be some impacts out of this winter storm. That's why the thumbnail will say Get ready now. We got a big storm coming. It's going to be developing before your eyes by tomorrow morning. And so my job here is to make sure I relay the information that I see and I warn you all of what you're going to be looking at in the next 1 to 5 days. Rainfall totals or QPF amounts, again, this is going to be in the form of snow mainly, but you can see the equivalent of about 2 to 4 inches of rainfall or water equivalent in the northern Cascades there in Washington, Oregon. The lower elevations like Portland and Seattle could get between about 1.5 to maybe 2.5 inches of rainfall. Montana, Idaho could get anywhere between about 1 to 3 inches of QPF amounts. And then, of course, down here where it's warmer, that's where you're gonna be seeing quite a bit of rainfall. Part of a little short wave that is going to be ejecting out of western Texas, and that could bring maybe about 1.5 to 2 inches of rainfall. All right, now on to the severe weather side of things. This is what we're really watching closely for, okay? Because we know we got the dynamics there. We got a lot of wind energy that is going to be packed and loaded with the system. In fact, if we go back and take a look at with what the winds or the upper level dynamics are going to look like, well, let's kind of forward this through. So we got our trough right here. So this is by late Sunday night into, say, early Monday morning. So this is going to be first thing actually in the morning. There's your jet stream or jet max or speed max right around 76 to 85 knots. There's going to be some very strong divergent flow aloft. We're going to get lowering pressures at the surface, and air mass responds to that pressure change or gradient winds. So we're going to get southerly winds at the surface. We're going to see southwesterly winds aloft, and that's going to actually help turn or winds will turn with height. And when we get that, we get in long or looped photographs, we get storm organization that could develop, especially on the left exit region, where I think we're going to see the best dynamics come together. Moisture, shear, lift, instability kind of all coming right into play here for the threat for severe weather, all the way from, say, Minnesota, all the way down into Missouri. And that is why the Storm Prediction Center, again, I illustrate this pretty well. Slight risk for severe weather. This is 4 days. We don't even see them go marginal. We don't see a moderate here, of course. That's good news. But we do see a 15% declension point from the Storm Prediction Center all the way from northeastern Kansas into eastern Nebraska into western Iowa and southwestern Minnesota. This could include the threat for damaging winds, perhaps the chances for some tornadoes if we get any embedded QLCS supercells within that embedded line that tries to develop. And again, this is going to be moving pretty quickly, so wind damage will be the biggest threat with this. And I do emphasize quite a bit that this could be a little on the generous side. We could see a little bit bigger slight risk get issued in future outlooks. This is a pretty dynamic setup. So severe weather, heavy snow, we're going to go from heavy snow, heavy rain, strong winds in the intermountain northwestern portion of the United States and in the northern tier to severe weather and warmer temperatures across the Great Lakes and the Midwest. So very crazy weather pattern setup, and that's why you need to get ready right now, hence the thumbnail and the title of this video. But also, you know what you want to get ready for? You want to get ready to subscribe to my YouTube channel so I keep you all up to date on a daily basis, late or early, whatever floats your boat or floats my boat. I'm here keeping you all updated here on Weather United. But you can only do that if you subscribe, share, and like. Sharing goes a long way. That's what I'm asking too much probably, but yeah, share it. It really goes far. And also, what else? What was I going to think of? Check out our Weather United Discord server. There's a link in the description below this video. So thank you all for tuning in to tonight's video on this big winter storm that is still progged on most models. Get ready, folks. It's going to be a rough one. Thanks for watching.